There are basically 5 main steps in completing a soil carbon project. Register the project, we baseline the baseline soil, physical soil carbon measurement, we implement new change practices on farm, we come back, measure again, write up all the reports, and then finally in that 5th step, apply for soil carbon credits. And that's when we get the credits, that's when we get the payment to the farmers for that increase in soil organic carbon. To kickstart the process, working with our AgriProve to start that registration, it's as simple as giving AgriProve the consent to register a project. So we've got a very streamlined form. We ask if we get a few bits of information about the operations of the farm and how that's been operated over the last 10 years. And then we'll write all of that up and make the application to the Clean Energy Regulator, who administers the whole program to get the project registered, and then make a start on doing all the planning for the baseline sampling round, and then get started with the on-farm implementation of the project. The relationship between the farmer and AgriProve is structured as a partnership style of arrangement. We basically license the rights to do all the soil carbon measuring, monitoring and reporting. So our role in life in these projects is to wrangle all the forms, take care of all the reporting. Whereas the farmer concentrates on the on-farm implementation and then maximising the amount of soil carbon that can actually be built on farm. So we structure it in a way that we as AgriProve only get a fee out of the success of the project. So if there's no carbon credits, we don't get any fees. We do it in this way so that we align our interests so that we can play the best supportive role to farmers, providing as much information and support that we can to assist in on-farm implementation and actually building soil organic carbon. There are costs involved in running a soil organic carbon project. The main cost is that of physical soil sampling. So we actually physically go out and we measure the soil carbon stocks in the soil. Now, we defer those costs, if not to the main part, to when carbon credits are actually created. So for most farmers, they won't face any upfront cash flow implications of working with AgriProve on a soil organic carbon project. All of the other ongoing costs associated with the project, the reporting, the monitoring, the calculations, and even the audit costs, these are all covered by AgriProve in our success fee. Soil carbon projects do represent a significant form of additional revenue to farmers. Now, obviously, the performance of each project is going to vary. It's going to vary by the type of mechanism or type of activity a farmer introduces or implements on farm. It's going to vary by soil type and by climatic conditions. But our analysis is that good quality projects in good quality farming areas will give an additional $50 to $100 of revenue per hectare per annum straight onto the bottom line for farmers. Farmers get paid from a soil carbon project every time we measure an increase in soil carbon stocks on their farm. So that's a payment associated with every sampling round, and we'll structure those sampling rounds every 2 to 4 years, depending on how the project's going, range from other kind of factors like that. So we measure an increase, get the carbon credits, farmer gets paid. And that's a point where AgriProve gets paid as well. We operate on a success fee. Our success fee is 25% of the carbon credits issued. We landed on the success fee model to make sure that our incentives were aligned with the performance of the project, and we were focused on helping farmers maximise the soil carbon opportunity on their farm. There are 3 main options for selling carbon credits once they're issued. We can provide a fixed price at the start of the project to farmers. We can sell them at the market in terms of the spot price that's available, or farmers can actually elect to hold on to those carbon credits for a future time or a future preference as to when they might want to sell them. The structure of the Emissions Reduction Fund means that it's open to pretty much anyone to run their own project. So farmers, if they wanted to, could elect to be the participant, run the project, register with the clean energy regulator under their own banner. That does provide or present some challenges, both from the cost and also the ongoing administration of the project. So because the farmer would be directly registering with the regulator, there's a lot of additional paperwork that's involved at the registration stage on the onboarding process. Also, then the farmers are directly liable for all of the ongoing reporting, monitoring, verification, and audit costs associated with the project. And those audit costs, if it's just done as a one-off, can be quite large in comparison to the amount of revenue that the project's delivered. And then thirdly, and probably most importantly, in terms of future-proofing the project, being the direct participant on the project, so farmers interacting directly with the regulator, there's no buffer, and that means all of the future planning falls and obligations for running the project falls directly on the farmer shoulders. So when we run a project, AgriProve registers, and we actually sit as a buffer between farmer and the clean energy regulator. And in doing so, future-proof a lot of those potential concerns that farmers talking to myself say, well, Matthew, what if we want to sell the farm, or what if we're talking about succession planning and splitting the farm up? So we structure the project right from the get-go, working with AgriProve to future-proof it for those not unlikely scenarios and circumstances. That removes a hefty administrative burden from farmers. Farmers concentrate on the farming, and we'll wrangle the forms in Canberra. AgriProve sees a huge potential for soil carbon in Australia. Australia has some of the most degraded soils on the planet, and we've got a lot of it. We've got a lot of land area. So we as a company are really motivated to get out and work with as many farmers as we can, both from the on-farm benefits of improving soil health and overall farm profitability, but also making a material contribution to Australia's greenhouse gas targets. We do need to reduce emissions and reduce them significantly for a safe climate, and soil carbon sits in a really sweet spot where the more carbon we can take out of the atmosphere where it's a problem and put into the actual soils where it's an asset, we're not only delivering greenhouse gas reductions but changing the overall viability of the Australian farming system. The soil organic carbon projects under the Emissions Reduction Fund are 25-year projects, and 25 years is a long time. So a couple of points to make that. Firstly, the overall structure, the overall regulatory structure, has bipartisanship support for the actual creation of the carbon credits. So it was originally a Labor Party policy, and we're very much supported with Liberal. So we're really confident in the longevity of the overarching framework of the Emissions Reduction Fund. Secondly, 25 years is a long time and makes choosing a partner really important, and because we need to be here for that long term. No guarantees in life, but in those circumstances where, for whatever reason, AgriProve may not be around, important to highlight that the farmer is always the project owner. AgriProve's the participant, but the farm and the farming enterprise unit always remains the project owner of that soil carbon project. So in that instance, over that longer term, there always is that option, but not obligation, to step in directly and replace AgriProve should, for whatever reason, AgriProve not be around. So again, that structuring, providing that partnership approach, also provides a lot of future-proofing for farmers who might be concerned about what might happen, and then puts us there as that sort of key partner for the long term on these project types. So what makes soil carbon projects really exciting for us at AgriProve is not only the carbon credits and getting farmers an additional source of revenue, but it's the associated co-benefits. We hear time and time again from the farmers that we're talking to that really the carbon credits are the icing on the cake. The real benefits come to that change in how soils function and operate, increased water holding capacity, more drought resilience, better nutrition availability for plants, a raft of on-farm benefits and improvements that are the real value creation engine from running a soil carbon project. And that's the real potential that we have in terms of being able to change and improve Australian agricultural systems while making a fundamental material contribution to reaching our greenhouse gas targets.